All right, you guys. Hello and welcome to June's Virtual Bariatric Meetup. Thank you so very much for joining us today. We are very excited to introduce you to somebody that is probably brand new to you. Her name is Carsen. She is a licensed esthetician from Portland, Oregon. She's waving there in the video. Hi, Carsen.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Oh, we are so excited. I have not yet had a service personally done by Carsen, but she was recommended to us by Celia, the woman that we interviewed on our podcast recently. And she just said, Carsen is the most amazing esthetician in the world. And based on the conversations I've had with her, I can vouch for that. So we very much appreciate you joining us today. Thank you so very much.
Of course.
And then probably a very familiar face, if you are part of the bariatric community, Miss Charity herself, Miss Wanderlust. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, you guys, we just recorded a fabulous podcast episode with Charity this morning. It is just amazing. Not only did we learn more about her story and her struggles, but we also learned about how she has really come to this place of acceptance with your body. I mean, it was just, oh my God, awesome. Awesome. So that episode, I know, that episode will be dropping very, very soon. So again, thank you ladies both very much for joining us. We're very excited to learn from you today. First and foremost, we always want to start by thanking our sponsors and our patrons. We have three kind of local businesses to Natalie and I that sponsor what we do here at East to West. It's Gather Juice Company in Tacoma, Retreat Drinks, which is Natalie and I's favorite hot like cacao beverage in the world. You can order them online. They're amazing. And Grit City Cairo in Tacoma. I absolutely love Dr. McKenzie. So they help us keep the lights on, so to speak. So we're very thankful for their support. And then our patrons, you guys, unbelievable. They are the people that are helping, like we always say, keep the lights on. They help us pay for Zoom. They help us pay for the podcast. All of these supports cost money, and they help us every single month do so. So we couldn't do this without them. So if you're a patron of East to West, we thank you for your continued support. Before I dive in, Jason and Nat, would you guys like to introduce yourself? I totally skipped over you because I'm like, oh my God, everybody knows who you are, but that's probably not the case. Jason, my friend, why don't you start? Introduce yourself.
My name is Jason Smith. I was trying to do the math just now. I'm roughly 18 months post-op ish, roundabout. No, actually, I'm more than that. I don't know, like 20 months post-op. I don't know, it's been forever. I have my on March 11th of 2020. I am down 184 pounds as of today. And I just really enjoy being here, helping support you guys, which also helps support us. So.
Thank you, friend. Go for it, Nat.
I'm Natalie at Breaking Barriers on Instagram. I had my VSG surgery done September 28th of 2020. So I am about almost 10 months post-op, which is wild. But I've lost about 130 pounds total, including my pre-op. And yeah, I'm like Jason and April. I'm really excited to be here to support you guys, learn about skin. And I just love the community. So I love being here.
We love having you. If you guys don't know, Natalie is behind all of our social media. She's our social media guru. She volunteers her time because she believes in what East to West does, and we could not do it without her. So thank you very much, Natalie, for everything that you do here for us. And you will be seeing her all the time in the very near future, which we are very excited about. For those of you who don't know me, my name is April Williams. I am almost 2 years post-op VSG. I've lost 120 pounds, and I live in Washington State, Gig Harbor to be exact. And I'm just very excited to learn from these two women today. I am all about skincare, full body, and I'm always looking to make sure that I am maintaining that. So that is my goal for today. We're going to go over some ground rules, and then we're just going to get right into it. Our mission at these virtual bariatric meetups are pretty simple. We want to support the bariatric community with humor, humility, and honesty. We want to destigmatize bariatric surgery. We want to grow a community for and of bariatric patients. And we just want a safe place to share, learn, and grow together. That was why I started these all those years ago, and that's why we continue to do them. Just some simple ground rules. Always assume best intent. Share what you are comfortable with sharing publicly because this is recorded. We are not here to sell you anything. We will make some recommendations, but that's just based on our personal good things that we've experienced. If we see any nudity, violence, or isms, really foul language, we'll just remove you from the group, and that will be the end of it. And this is not medical advice, not even close. So this is just us getting together to learn and grow from each other. Oh my God, I think I did it. Did I do it? I'm trying to do this in like record time so we can get right to the learning. Here's our, all right, awesome. Thanks, Jason. Here's our agenda for today. We are going to learn from, is that a typo, Cameron? Carsen? Oh my gosh, it's
What?
a typo. Your name is Carsen, but the slideshow says Cameron.
I didn't even notice. So
dude. Oh my gosh.
You're fine.
Thank you. Her name is Carsen, and we are going to be learning from her today on how we can care for our skin from our expert esthetician. And then Charity is going to talk about how she has come to love her skin. We'll have a little Q&A session, and then we will just look ahead at what's coming up for the supports this month. I do want to let you guys know this is not like a formal lecture. If you have a question, please unmute yourself and ask it. We will also be monitoring the chat, Jason, Natalie, and I. And if we see that you have a question and it's not being addressed, we are totally fine unmuting ourselves and asking. Please do know you do not have to turn on your camera. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to put anything in the chat. You can do how you can be here however you would like to be present today. So we just appreciate you being here first and foremost. So I am so ready for this. I found this quote and I thought this is really all encompassing of kind of what we do in the bariatric world. Ellen DeGeneres said, beauty is about being comfortable in your own skin. It's about knowing and accepting who you are. And I think all of us, no matter where we are in this journey, are trying to be comfortable in our own skin. Before surgery, probably many of us didn't feel comfortable. And after surgery, as our body changed, we are still not comfortable. And it takes some work to get there. So really that's what today is just about, knowing and accepting who we are and loving on our skin. All right, let's do this. Miss Carsen. Are you ready? Oh my gosh, she froze. Tech. Or I'm frozen. Am I frozen? Ugh.
No, you're not frozen. She left out.
I clicked the wrong thing. I clicked the wrong thing and I left. I'm so sorry. Like right as you were introducing me.
I love it. I love it. It's all good. You have the floor, my friend.
Beautiful. Oh, let me just get back to that PowerPoint. Where did there we go. Perfect. Hi, everybody. My name is Carsen, obviously. I live in Portland, Oregon. I've been an esthetician for about 6 years, but I've been kind of obsessed with skin for probably close to 15 now. Growing up, I had all kinds of skin issues and never really had like a good relationship with my own skin. So really my entire career as an esthetician has been kind of dedicated to uplifting my clients and making them feel comfortable in their skin, however that may be. I have a small studio in Portland where I provide different kinds of skincare services and treatments, as well as hair removal. But I really want to just like meet all of my clients where they are. This is a body positive space. We are gender inclusive. And I just love, I love skin. I'm going to geek out here for a little bit. Hopefully it's not too dry and clinical for you guys. I did warn April though, that if need be, she'll jump in and ask me to do a better job translating things into sort of your everyday language. If you guys have any questions as we're going through it, like please feel free to pop in, ask me things, whether it's about skincare, hair removal, like literally anything to do with skin, feel free to let me know. Yeah, and we'll kind of just jump in here. So skin is the largest organ in our body. It is the first line of defense that we have to keep pathogens out and keep our insides in, which is really important. But a lot of us don't put as much time and effort into our skin as we do all of our other body systems, right? So, you know, we think about health and we think about, right, like diet, exercise, taking our vitamins. Nobody thinks about like maintaining our skin health. You know, one of the most difficult things to treat in like a hospital setting is a burn, because if you have burns over a large portion of your body and your skin is compromised, it's pretty hard to keep somebody alive. So when we think about how important skin is, I think that kind of gives like a pretty good visual as far as to like why we should care about our skin, right?
And you know, we were talking with this about Celia on the podcast, and we were kind of like, you know, pontificating about why full body skincare is maybe something that we've neglected in the past. And she was talking about how, you know, when you meet somebody, especially kind of where we live in the Northern Hemisphere, our bodies are usually closed. So the only skin that you're seeing is really kind of the face. So even though your skin is, you know, head to toe, we're only focusing here, which, you know, is good. But really, if we're neglecting the rest of our skin, we're kind of neglecting our overall healthcare in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. And when we think about skincare, when we are thinking about it, we really do only think about the face and the aesthetics of it, right? We think about having clear skin or perfect, quote unquote, skin. But really, when you are caring for your skin, your goal should always be optimizing your skin health. With that, once you are optimizing your skin health, of course, it's going to look a little bit better once you're like putting time and effort into it. Unfortunately, skincare, though, isn't something that's one size fits all. And I'm going to keep saying that throughout this. I have some general recommendations that I'll make for you guys, kind of some basic skincare advice that I have. But everybody's skin is different, and it's determined by a million different factors. But one of the most important things in like maintaining that skin health is our lipid barrier or acid mantle. There's like the three primary layers of skin that people talk about a lot, right? Like the subcutaneous layer, which is mostly where we store fat. We have connective tissue. The dermis is like our living skin. That's where we keep, it's where we have like our sweat glands. We have a lot of connective tissue and blood vessels there. And then we have our epidermis, which is like basically dead skin cells hanging out on the surface of the skin, but we want to keep some of them there. They're not really doing much there except keeping things out.
Okay. So so when you see commercials in there and they're advertising things about like how products can go underneath your skin, those are the actual layers that that product is targeting.
Exactly.
And if all three layers aren't healthy, then we really don't have what we would say healthy skin.
Exactly. Yep.
Oh.
And then that lipid barrier, which I like to think of as the fourth, you know, the top layer of our skin system. That's kind of what seals everything and keeps those layers below it protected. So a lot of times when we think about our skin, right, we're trying to like get rid of oil, right? Like everything's about cleansing and exfoliating and just like stripping the skin down. But you really don't want to completely strip it down. You want to keep that lipid barrier healthy because that's what kind of waterproofs us and keeps things like lubricated and moisturized so that they can function properly.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So how do we do that?
So, I mean, one of the big things is not over exfoliating. You know, I when I was listening to the podcast earlier, I know that Celia talked a lot about it, right? Like, especially here in the United States, like everything is more. If exfoliating is good, then we must want to do it twice a day, 7 days a week, when in reality, that's not true. Sure, we want to knock off some of those like dead skin cells
sitting on the top that aren't doing anything, but we
Mhm.
really don't want to strip everything off, because then that's just more work for us, right? Because you need to keep that acid mantle, that lipid barrier functioning. And if you're stripping it all the way off, then you're going to have to synthetically rebuild that, or you could just not strip everything away to begin with, and it'll keep things a lot healthier.
Okay.
Um,
So
Yeah.
yeah. So I guess where do you recommend? Well, maybe let's do this in the chat, you guys. If you guys feel comfortable, maybe let us know, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how much attention do you pay to like all of your skin in a day? So not just your face, your full body. 1 being I pay no attention, -5. Thank you, Rob. 10 being, like I pay attention to it all the time. Okay.
Lots of
So
twos and threes. So I'm
lots of twos and
assuming
threes.
that like all of these, you probably think about it in the morning, maybe, right? Like I see that there's a lot of women in here. You probably think about it when you put your makeup on in the morning, but you're really only thinking about your face, right? 7 to 8. Natalie thinks about her skin a lot. I love it.
Me and Rob are on that same -5 path.
Shocking. Totally shocking.
Well,
right?
now wait a minute. I'll back mine to a -2 now, because I went to the dermatologist and kind of got the whole thing going. So now I got to bump it up a little bit. So I'm gonna go -2.
-2. Okay. We'll
Yeah.
work on that.
Mhm. Yeah, and I can see in the chat too. Yeah, I mean, I spend a lot of time face, neck, kind of this area, my upper
Yep.
chest and my hands. But my whole body is a routine that I have had to get in just because I was really noticing some issues with my skin. Yeah, and Rob, that's a really great point that maybe we can speak to, right? I'm the same way too. I'll neglect my skin until something appears on it, and then it's like, oh my God, something is really wrong. And based on the conversation that we had with Celia Carsen, it's kind of like if you're seeing something on your skin, it could be an indication that something deeper is actually going on with your overall health.
Absolutely. Yeah. Skin is like one of the #1 like manifestations of other health things going on in the body.
Okay.
I was going to nursing school for a while, and one of the things that you first do when you walk into a patient's room is you look at them. You look at their color. You look to see what's happening on their skin, because that can be such a visual representation of what is happening in their body. Yeah, it looks like Natalie said that she was having insulin resistance, and there's a condition called, I think it's called Acanthosis nigricans. It's basically darkening of the skin in specific areas along the back of the neck. People get it in their underarms, and that's it's really common in people who have insulin resistance, and it's one of the first signs that you'll see, aside from obviously blood sugar levels, right?
Yeah. So where do you recommend we start? So we understand that now skin is the largest organ in our body. We understand that it's really healthcare to care for our skin, but we just heard like, well, we don't want to over exfoliate. And then so where do we start to make sure that we are setting ourselves up for success with our skin?
Can we click through into the next slide here?
Yes. Oh,
look at that.
Ask and you shall receive. Perfect.
So like I said, skincare is not one size fits all. These are pretty like general statements that I'm going to make. Obviously, if you have something going on with your skin, I recommend that you see a dermatologist. Everyone ideally should be seeing a dermatologist every year to get their skin checked for skin cancer anyway. But also building a relationship with an esthetician is great if you have specific skin concerns. We can treat the whole body, not just the face. So a lot of times people just think of estheticians as doing facials, but we can do full body treatments. At least in Oregon and Washington, some states are a little bit different. But what does our skin need at like the most basic level, right? We need to cleanse it a little bit. We don't want to take everything off. We need to moisturize it a little bit because we are cleansing it, right? So we want to add some moisture back to the top of it. And then we need sunscreen. So those are like the 3 very basic things that absolutely everybody should be doing every single day, regardless of who you are, right?
Okay.
A lot of times people are using like bar soaps or like an all-in-one cleanser or like Dr. Bronner's. Those are going to have really high pH levels, right? So our skin naturally wants to be a little bit acidic, which is why it's called an acid mantle. So it's not appropriate to use something that's very alkaline on our skin, because it's just going to throw our whole like microbiome out of whack. And that's when you start seeing like really dry skin, cracked, chapped things, you know, your elbows will get all rough, things will feel really dry, right? Most people could benefit from using a less foaming cleanser overall on their body, right? So a lot of times when we think of washing things, right, you want like all the foam and all the lather and like you want that squeaky clean feeling. But that's what's like stripping everything off, is you're using all these detergents on your body, and sure, you're taking the dirt off, you're taking the sweat off, but you're also taking the things,
all the other good stuff.
So I really like, there's a body cleanser from La Roche-Posay, and this will be on the next slide in here as well. It's called like their Lip Bar Daily Moisturizing Body Cleanser or something. It has very little of a suds to it, which is something that people kind of have to adjust to, because it's not a feeling that we're used to having as like a clean feeling, right? But it's gonna still cleanse the skin as we need to. It's pH appropriate for the skin. You can use it all over the body. It's not my favorite for the face, but if you're the kind of person that like isn't gonna use a separate cleanser for your face, this one I will accept. And then we need to be moisturizing our skin, right? A lot of people are afraid of oil. I think in like the 90s and the early 2000s, everything was oil free. Even like our food, everything was like fats are bad, oil is bad, don't use oil anywhere on your body. You don't need to be afraid of oil. You don't need to be afraid of using oils on your skin. Ever.
I use it all day long. I use it all day, every day. Yeah. I cleanse my face with oil, and then I put an oil on it. I put oil on my body. The lotion that I use is oil based. And really, since I made that switch, it was like mind blowing to me, because oh my God, I saw an instant difference, and it continues. I continue to have healthy skin because I'm using those products. It was such a misnomer for all those years.
Right. Well, and like one of the things that our skin's like natural oil does is it prevents something that's called transepidermal water loss. So like just water just evaporating sheerly out of our skin. So if we strip off our acid mantle and then we're adding a moisturizer that doesn't have any oil to it, that's just water based, you know, like aloe or something like that, there's nothing kind of sealing our skin from the rest of the world, and we'll just continue to like evaporate moisture out of our body, out of our skin.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing for guys. Like one of the things I wanted to ask you about, Carsen, too, for guys, a lot of our stuff is heavy and scented, which means the alcohols are high for the male side of things. And I know that that's also something else that can cause extremely dry skin as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. For the most part, I don't like alcohols in skincare products. For most people, most of the time, it's just too much. I mean, as well as the fragrance, right? Like fragrance can be incredibly irritating. It can be really sensitizing. Even if you start off using a product that has fragrances in it that doesn't cause a problem, over time, your skin can start to build up that reactivity to those fragrances. So as much as possible, avoid products all over your body, really, that have like added fragrance. I mean, of course, there's like natural plant extracts and things that are sometimes used in products that have another purpose, but also make it smell good. That's one thing. But if you see perfume in the label, you don't need that. You don't need that in your life, especially on the face. Our face skin and the skin, like in intimate areas, underarms, bikini area, things like that, are really sensitive. It's a lot thinner like the layers of skin are a lot thinner. So those areas tend to be a little bit more reactive. And then in addition to your moisturizer, your cleanser, SPF every single day. I don't care if it's sunny out or if it's cloudy out. I don't care if you never burn. Everybody needs sunscreen every day. Celia and I met at a training recently. That's how I met her. We became instant best friends. Decided the day that we met to get matching tattoos.
I saw it on her. It says SPF.
And we have little SPF tattoos.
That is hardcore.
We get a little bit aggressive. If you decide to follow us on Instagram, we get a little aggressive with our clients about sun protection. But it's really serious. Like, not only like does it help to prevent things like premature signs of aging, wrinkles, hyperpigmentation, it can help with acne scarring, but like also skin cancer. So
would be a good
every day.
Good thing to avoid.
Yeah.
And Carsen, there was a really great question in the chat. So what is the order of operation when it comes to moisturizer and sunscreen? So it's cleanse, moisturize, and don't be afraid of oil, and then SPF, or
SPF should always be the very last product that you put on your skin.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
Even if you're using one of those, there's some sunscreens that are kind of marketed as like a serum weight or a serum sunscreen. It should still be the very last step in your routine.
Okay. So and I think Natalie and I probably follow this routine. We cleanse, we moisturize, right? Then we do our sunscreen, then we do makeup, right? So that is the order.
And then often when you apply, so really ideally we should all be reapplying our sunscreen every 90 minutes, 2 hours, right? When we put makeup on, oftentimes we're not then touching up the sunscreen throughout the day. There are setting sprays that you can use that have SPF in them. You getting one? You have one with you?
You read my mind. I'm going through my drawer right here.
Which one do you use?
So I've been using Ilia makes one, and Supergoop makes one, and I've been going back and forth between both of those. And I literally do spritz my face about every 2 hours, because what really terrified me months ago is that I read an article that said the blue light that is emitted from our computer screens is just as damaging as sun. And I was like, oh my God. And this is all we do now, right? So if it's our phones, if it's our computers, so if we are not reapplying that SPF, we're doing even more damage to our money makers.
And I mean, everything that I've read, it looks like the blue light from screens and things isn't causing skin cancers, but it really does speed up that premature aging. So wrinkles, hyperpigmentations, melasmas, things like that, it can really irritate that. And yeah, most of us are sitting in front of a computer all day.
Well,
it looks like Sharon had a really good point that I wanted to make, a question about a really good point that I wanted to make. The myth that SPF 30 is not double the protection of SPF 15. That is 100% correct. It's not, so the sun protection factor is like this very complicated math equation, basically. It's not a direct, like there's a myth that it's either SPF 30 is like double or you get twice as much time. Neither of those are true. So an SPF 15, I believe, blocks about 93% of UV rays. I should have looked this up. And then an SPF 30 is going to reflect or absorb, depending on if you're using physical or chemical, is going to reflect like 96%.
Oh, so that number is just indicating how much sunlight is actually penetrating your skin. So the higher the number, the lower the rate of penetration. So you're still getting sun in your skin and on your skin.
Yep. Which is exactly why, you can put on SPF and go out and you'll still get tan, right? You'll still get freckles. You're just not going to get as much of the damage, right? It's like harm reduction, basically. You're not sunproofing yourself, but you're
Wow.
helping.
Okay. So if we were really dead serious about protecting our skin from sun damage, we would be covering it up. We would be using like SPF
Exactly.
clothing and hats and sunglasses and gloves and all that kind of stuff.
Yep. And
Okay.
if you're going to be spending like extended time outside, if you're going on a hike, if you're going backpacking, if you're doing yard work all day, especially when it's warm out and especially when it's really sunny, I do recommend that you wear hats, that you wear the UPF clothing, or just cover your body or stay in the shade. That's always going to be your best bet.
Okay.
But reapplying every, 90 minutes is
Yeah.
the next best thing that you can do.
Okay. Excellent. Natalie has a really great, oh, sorry, Nat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. I was just gonna say also Carrie has her hand raised and I just wanted to give her a minute.
Thank you. Go for it, Carrie.
Sorry, I was trying to be polite. I don't know what the format is. So I use a serum and then I mix the oil in the serum. And then I was using a moisturizer that had SPF in it. And then somebody else said, no, you have to do moisturizer and then let it dry and then come back and put your SPF on, or you're not getting the benefit of the moisturizer. I'm sorry, my dog is freaking out, but is that what you think too?
So, I mean, I'm not going to say that a moisturizer SPF combo, it has like no place, right? Because if you're the kind of person that like needs as few steps as possible, I would rather have you using a moisturizer SPF combo than neither at all, or than just not using SPF, right? But ideally, you do want to apply them separately. You're going to get more benefit from the moisturizer, and you'll probably be more likely to apply the proper amount of SPF if you do them separately. So you need about a teaspoon of sunscreen to do your full face and décolleté.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm layering it on. Yeah, well, I've had skin cancer twice, so I'm putting it on, but it's just that added step. But then somebody, I was reading how the zinc ones like repel the UV lights, and then there's other ones that you still absorb it. And wow, that's like a whole science behind this thing.
Yeah. So there's like the chemical SPFs, which are going to be like the really long names that you see, the oxalocoxinate and whatever they all are. And those sink into the skin and then basically diffuse the UV rays, right? They convert it effectively. The zinc-based SPFs tend to like sit a little bit closer to the surface of the skin and then just reflect everything off. Yeah, which is why a lot of times you can get a little bit of like sort of a white cast if you have a darker complexion with like zinc-based SPFs. I prefer zinc-based SPFs, and I know that Celia does too, just because it tends to be a little bit less sensitizing to the skin. It's also more friendly for acne. If you have acne, zinc is actually really good at helping to reduce redness and inflammation in the skin. And it'll help to kind of minimize the amount of bacteria. But again, I would rather have you wearing sunscreen than none at all. So if you only are going to wear a chemical-based SPF, that's totally fine. Do it.
Thank you.
Awesome. Super, super great info. Natalie has a question about eye creams, but I do want to make sure we have enough time for Charity. Now, are you okay if we move your question to like the Q&A part of it?
Totally fine.
Awesome. Thank you. The question that we continued to get from members of the community when they knew that we were focusing on skin this month was skin tightening. So what can you tell us about, is it possible with creams and lotions, or is it not possible? I think that's the big question.
Creams and lotions are a scam. If they're telling you that they are skin tightening, I know I wish it could happen, but like you really have to be able to penetrate down into those very bottom cells that are building the skin. And you just can't do that with creams and lotions. You can sometimes get very like superficial while the product is on your skin tightening, just because it creates a reaction. But it's not going to create any kind of long-term results. You can do things to minimize like stretch marks, scarring, anything like that. There are topical creams and things like retinoids that will help. But as far as skin tightening goes, you're going to have to get treatments done, like have procedures. There's non-invasive options, and then there's some minimally invasive options. And then you have things like tummy tucks, like skin lifting, where they surgically remove the excess, right?
Yes.
Each sort of layer of, or different style, different amount of invasiveness is going to be able to tighten the skin a different amount, right? So the non-invasive ones can only do so much. The minimally invasive ones will do a little bit more. And then surgery is like, if you have a lot of excess skin, right?
Yeah.
Non-invasive options that you have, ultrasound, where it basically just like stimulates the skin enough that the bottom layers kind of heat up within the skin. And it forces it to start growing in a different way. You can also do radio frequency, which is sort of like a laser, but it's not a true like laser beam. Creates heat in the skin in a somewhat similar fashion. Your minimally invasive option, and those two are going to have virtually no downtime. They can be a little bit uncomfortable during the process, but you're not going to have anything visible going on. You're not going to be in so much pain that you need to take like a week off of work, nothing like that. The minimally invasive options are going to be like laser skin resurfacing, which is the gold standard as far as like less invasive skin tightening treatments go. Those can be a little bit uncomfortable. A lot of times, you know, that has to be done in like a clinic, a doctor's office. Sometimes they will prescribe some pain management medications beforehand. Usually you do want to take some time off of work, especially depending on which areas are being treated. And then you can also do like that radio frequency technique along with microneedling, where they basically take tiny little needles that are stamped into your skin, and then within those needles, they activate these little pseudo laser beams. Gives you a really great result. But that, again, is not going to be super comfortable during the process.
I was going to say, that sounds...
It's a little intense.
That's what he wants to do.
But it's great.
Rob's super pumped with the microneedling.
I love microneedling. I do it and I'm obsessed.
Yeah, and you can do microneedling just as like skincare treatments. It's really great for if you have any kind of like facial scarring. It can really help with like texture, things like that. But then once you combine it with lasers, then you can create really dramatic results within the skin.
Wow. Okay. Well, and I think for us in the bariatric community, right, we all have most of us have loose, jiggly skin that we're not exactly thrilled about. And so for some of us, the idea of having plastic surgery is a little bit like, you know, that's just not on our radar. So if there are things that we can do to help tighten our skin above nutrition and working out and toning muscles and things like that, it's nice to know that there are some treatment options that we can try that could produce some results. And are these things that we can do on our whole body, or are they really just focused on our face?
Yeah, so you can do all of these are things that you can do on your whole body. Some of them, like ultrasound is something that you're not going to do in the face or neck region. Okay. But the rest of them you can really do anywhere on the body. Depending on where you live, some places you can get these treatments done just by an esthetician. A lot of times you do have to go into like a med spa or like a dermatology office to have them done though, but you can get them done full body. All of them though are going to have better results if you have healthy skin to begin with. So don't think that you have to wait to get a treatment done first and then you're going to maintain it. You'll have better results. You'll have less recovery time. It'll be less painful if your skin is healthy when you go in at the beginning.
That is really good to know. Rebecca, I see your hand raised.
Hi, you might have already gone over this, and I'm glad that you're mentioning the skin tightening, because that was a question that I've been kind of stressing about, especially earlier on in my journey. I still have a lot more weight to lose. I knew this was going to be the case anyways. I plan on probably having to have plastic surgery, but specifically what's been stressing me out is the skin on my neck. I've already noticed that my elasticity is starting to go, and I'm 31 years old. So I feel like, you know, I'm so freaked out about having like a turkey neck. And so I don't know what I can do specifically to try and prevent that, or if there is procedures that I can do specifically for the neck. What would you suggest?
Yeah,
in that
so
area.
So for the face and neck, really, as of right now, I would make friends with an esthetician. Find an esthetician that you know and trust. If you live in like the Seattle Tacoma area, Celia is amazing. She's super talented. I'm in Portland. If you need recommendations, feel free to like shoot me a message or something on Instagram, and I can help you find somebody if you're not.
Okay. I live in Florida, so a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
A little bit of a trek there.
That would be a bit of a commute. But yeah, there's absolutely things that you can be doing. Sun damage does break down our elasticity. So sunscreen is going to be a really good friend of yours. That's going to help to prevent any excess loss of elastin in the skin. You can also just do regular microneedling treatments are going to help quite a bit and can be done in that area. You can also do microcurrent, which is like an electro stimulation of like the skin and muscles, and you can get that done in those areas, and that'll help quite a bit with tightening. You can also do, if you find like a DMK certified skin therapist, there's like enzyme treatments and like muscle banding that can help quite a bit with skin tightening in those areas.
Okay. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Rebecca, that is such a great question. And I too, so I just turned 40, and as soon as I started losing a bunch of weight, my neck got real Tales of the Crypty looking. And I was seeing a different esthetician at the time when I first started to notice this, and she just recommended, it's SPF, moisturize, do whatever you do on your face, do down here. And she'd also said, you can give a Beauty Bio a try, and that's a derm roller. It's not microneedling like what Carsen's talking about, but it does, stimulate some of the skin. And I have noticed a very good difference since I have been doing that. I still have got some stuff, but also just doing like basic stretches. I know that also sounds weird.
No, I was going to ask about that.
Yeah. For me, I have noticed a difference. Now I'm also religious about it because I'm not happy with it, but just after conversations that I've had with my old esthetician and my new one, showing the same love that I show on my face and my body in my neck is just going to be light years, and SPF and all that kind of good stuff. So I just want to let you know, your struggle is you are not alone in your struggle. I too am with you on the neck thing, friend, as is Jason and probably everybody else in this room.
Oh yeah, no, I've already talked about the whole neck thing, because there's times I've been on the stories for East to West, and I'll wipe a whole story out because I don't like the way my neck looked and the way I have my head moved. I'll be like, nope, not using that one, because it starts folding and turning, and I get a little. I will not. I have the same situation, so I'm right there with you.
Yes.
And one of the other things that you can do too is, and it's not going to make a drastic difference by any means, but it'll help, is by when you're applying your moisturizers and things, like really focus on like upward movements, right? Like not dragging the skin down, because all day, right, gravity is working our skin this direction. So applying things this way, really spend your time. Like when you're moisturizing, like do a little facial massage, and that'll help stimulate things and get your skin more like optimized functioning.
Okay.
Yes. You guys, Carsen is going to stick around kind of after the VBM officially ends at 6:00 to answer any of your questions. She's available on Instagram. She is at Esthetician Carsen. I put it in the chat. We have all kinds of questions for her because she is amazing. And we all want to care for not only our beautiful faces, but our whole body. So she is volunteering her time to help us understand what we can do best. And there are a billion requests, Carsen, in the chat for a shopping list and like an order of operations. We will for sure get that to her, and we will email it out to everybody that RSVP'd for this event. So do not worry about that, you guys, at all. And really, this is kind of a thank you, Carsen, first and foremost, before I
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my God, this is just amazing. But this is really a great transition because as we're talking about what we can do topically, right, with our skincare, Charity is going to talk to us about what she has done to embrace the woman and the shape and the skin that she has today. So, right, it's kind of a good thing to know. Here's what I can do on the surface, and here's kind of some of the mental work that I can do to get okay with the skin that I have now. So if you guys don't know Charity, we're super excited for you to meet her. Charity, my friend, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, I am Charity. I'm wanderlust.wls on Instagram. So I had VSG in 2019, and then after a couple of just minor little complications, I actually ended up with a revision to bypass in December of 2020. And I am officially in maintenance as of about April. And so I'm now maintaining an 160-pound weight loss overall. So I am to the point now where I qualify for skin surgery and skin removal and things like that. However, I did get the official okay that as of June 2021, my husband and I can start trying for a bariatric baby. So that is first and foremost for me right now is we will be trying for a pregnancy. And so I am in this skin for at least the next year or two. So that's kind of where I'm at as far as my skin journey is concerned. I do plan on having plastics done at some point. When that will be, I do not know, but whenever it is down the road, I do plan on having a tummy tuck, a brachioplasty, my legs, thighs done. I plan on getting it all, but I also have Diastasis Recti. And if you don't know what that is abdominal separation. And so my abdominal muscles actually are separated. And so the only way to fix what I have is through surgery. So since I have to get that corrected anyways, I figure why not add the tummy tuck on top of that? Otherwise, I don't know that I would be getting plastics done just because of my medical history and record with surgeries. So that's where I'm at.
So, and you guys might have noticed, I just stopped sharing because, right, sometimes it's nice to just look at the person who is speaking to us. So nothing happened on your end. That's not anything to panic about. Charity, will you just share with us, how have you gotten to this place where you are accepting or acknowledging or embracing the skin that you have today? How have you gotten there?
It took a long time, especially with my scars. So if you don't follow me on Instagram or you're not aware of my specific journey, I did have an emergency laparotomy done in November 2019 following complications from my sleeve. And so I do have a chest to belly button scar, along with my belly button. I call it my cave. My belly button has like a little cave opening kind of scar above it. Because of where they had to do incisions. And then I also have had 10 drains that have scarred, and because of the severity, my scarring has been pretty severe afterwards because obviously my body was focused on healing from the inside. It wasn't really focused. And so the scarring has been pretty bad. So essentially my entire abdomen is just a bunch of scars. And so that did take a very long time for me to come to terms with, but we actually talked about it a little bit on the podcast. I always tell everybody my appearance is the least interesting thing about me, but my scars tell a hell of an interesting story. And so that is kind of where I am as far as the scars are concerned. If somebody is interested in my scars or asks me questions about my scars, like, buckle up, Buttercup, because you're in for a little ride, you know? So I personally choose not to hide my scars or anything like that. I embrace them. I let them out to be seen at the gym, at the pool, at the beach, wherever. I do know the Carsen's probably like, oh my gosh, please don't do that, because as far as scars, you are supposed to keep them covered for like sun protection and stuff like that. But I will say I am pretty strict about my SPF. So I do ensure that I wear SPF and I reapply constantly on my scars and make sure that as far as that is concerned.
Mhm.
So I am to the point now where, like I said, I'm stuck with this body for at least the next 2 years. And so I'm very proud of how far I've come, and my body tells a story. The extra skin shows that I've lost 160 pounds with a lot of hard work, and I continue to put in a lot of hard work. Whenever I'm having a down day where I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, I look in the mirror and I kind of see like 327 pounds that I was, that is the day that I force myself to put on a sports bra and leggings and head out to the gym bearing it all. Because the day before I looked in the mirror and I felt lean, and I knew, and I know it's all a mind game. So just forcing myself out of my comfort zone and realizing people aren't looking at my extra skin. When I go to the gym, I have never once had somebody staring at my arms as they're flapping in the breeze while I'm on the treadmill. No one has, I notice it, but I don't think a single person at the gym has ever noticed, pointed it out, been staring at me, anything like that, you know? And so I really think a lot of it is in our heads, and we kind of need to get out of that headspace, because you are your biggest enemy when it comes to your looks and when it comes to your insecurities. And I'm not saying that your insecurities are not valid, because they absolutely are. Your feelings are absolutely valid, but learning to embrace your insecurities and kind of, again, force yourself out of that comfort zone, I have found has really helped my mental health and helped me kind of break past that hiding. I worked too hard to hide my body. So,
Oh, well, and what I really appreciate about our discussion earlier in the podcast, and I think it's really important that we talk about it here today. I mean, are you happy with every part of your body every second of the day, Charity?
no, absolutely not. My biggest insecurity are my arms and my thighs. And so what I choose to focus on, I know body positivity is shoved down our throats. It's a big buzzword right now. Everybody's like, oh, you need to accept your body. You need to be body positive, and you need to remind yourself how beautiful you are. And while there is a place for that, I'm not saying there's not a place for that. Some mornings I'm not positive about my body. And so I really focus on body neutrality, which is the idea of accepting your body in the state that it is right now. There are changes that you may want to make, and working towards those changes is absolutely something that you should be doing. However, it's not your body right now. And so it's okay to not be okay with the way that your body looks. But what I always do is I focus on something that I do like about my body. So instead of focusing on, you know, I look bloated today, or, you know, my scars are really, my diastasis recti will make it look like I have a football coming out of my stomach sometimes. So instead of focusing on that, I'm like, girl, your collarbones be popping today. Like, you are looking good. Your shoulder day yesterday really did you well. Like, those are the things I choose to focus on. And then the other thing too is when I'm working out, instead of focusing on, I need to like tone up this loose skin, I need to get rid of this loose skin. No, I am focusing on kind of building all my other muscle groups. Because part of having diastasis recti, I cannot work on my core strength. I cannot use my abdominal muscles. And so I have to compensate for that as well. And so I'm building other muscles so that instead of anybody focusing on my bat wings, they're like, check out her shoulders, you know, or check out that back progress. And that's, again, that's a me thing. Nobody is really looking at my bat wings concerned about it. But if I can look in the mirror and feel better about them, then that's great.
We talked about this a lot on the episode this morning about how we really are the only person that's talking negative about ourselves when we go out in public. And that's true talk. It's not that, you know, that's like a horrible thing. It's just realizing that you're the one that is doing that. So if you want to shift or start to shift how you think about and how you accept your skin, right? Because you thinking negatively about your skin is not going to change your skin. It's not. The only thing that is going to change it is the actions that you take and how you think about it. So if we can get in a different mindset where we can at least just say, I acknowledge that this is my body. I acknowledge that I've got bingo wings, bat wings, whatever we want to call them, right? The day. At least that just says, okay, they're there. Now I've got a choice. What am I going to do? Am I going to talk negatively about them? Or am I going to say, nope, this is what it is. I'm either going to focus on these or I'm going to do something positive that helps me feel and acknowledge, you know, the good things that's going on. That's a hard shift to make.
A lot of people think if you're insecure about it, just cover it up. And I actually, again, I said in the podcast today, I literally live in Satan's armpit. It is 120 degrees here. If I don't like my arms, I'm not wearing a turtleneck and long sleeves because I don't want somebody looking at my arms. Like, no, it's 120 degrees. I'm wearing a tank top or I'm wearing a sports bra to the gym, and it is what it is. And at the end of the day, to be just frank, if somebody is staring at your bat wings and noticing that your bat wings, that is a them problem. It literally does not affect you in any way whatsoever. Because I mean, I have 3 kids. Okay. I have 2 3-year-olds and I have a 1-year-old. They do notice my extra skin. They do notice my loose skin. They comment on it, but you know, it's not coming from a place of malice. It's coming from a place of curiosity. And the way that you choose to teach somebody about that. So if you choose to just cover it up and, you know, my toddler touched it, so I'm going to cover it up and we're not going to talk about it. And I'm just going to tell him to leave me alone about it. No, I'm going to tell him, you know, oh, mommy lost weight and this is just her extra skin. And, you know, everybody's body looks different based on the journey that they've been on in their life. So
it is a true story.
I think that's really, I think part of the journey too is like accepting our bodies as they are. And also recognizing the gift that they are, like speaking to children, noticing things. My nephew, when he was 3, was laying down, we were watching TV and he had his head on my belly and he goes, I really like your big belly. It's very soft. And I was like, at first I was like, oh, how dare you? But then, you know, it's like, yeah, I mean, it is soft. And when we're cuddling, it's like comfortable and nice for him to lay on, you know, and your arms, they still carry your babies, you know, our bodies still do things, whether or not they are flabby or have a little bit of extra stuff on them. And I think that's a huge part of the body neutrality movement, is just acknowledging, okay, my body looks this way, but it's also doing these amazing things for me every single day.
And that is something too, we talked about this morning. My extra skin is a comfort to my kids. When my kids want to snuggle and they're upset, they take their hands and they knead their hands through my extra skin on my stomach. When we're sitting at dinner, I posted a video on my story about it of AJ. When we're sitting at dinner with my arms like this, AJ's just over here like entertaining himself away, you know, and it's a comfort thing to them. And obviously the first time it happens, it's going to make you uncomfortable, but it's not something that's going to happen forever. And it's something that they need. And so I'm going to teach them that if that's their comfort and that there's nothing wrong with it, they're not doing it to point out that you have extra skin. They're doing it because it's soft, because it feels good, because it's something for them to focus on instead of them focusing on what's making them sad or making them upset or whatever.
Yes. it's a hard place to get to, but if we can get there, I think it really adds to our overall quality of life. And I think it kind of helps us recover from our traumatic surgery experience, right? It's that we can learn to accept what is happening as it's happening. And that just gets us, it helps us with the body dysmorphia. It helps us with just moving forward, right? Making the different changes that we want to make in our lives to finally live the life that we have been so excited to live.
Well, and also too, thinking about what we've put our bodies through for so many years before we got to the point that we're at now. So I mean, it kind of, thinking about taking a step back and being a little grateful for the skin that we do have, even though it may be loose and it may not be exactly what we want to see. When you really go back and take accountability for what you've done to your, like myself, what I've done to myself over the years, it's something to definitely be thankful for, that I'm even still here to have the loose skin to begin with, because I could have really tight skin, but I could probably also not be here from, the health that I was in, or the poor health that I was in at the time. So I would much rather have loose skin and be here to see it myself.
That is an excellent point, my friend. I'll always drop it in at the last minute with some bomb of knowledge. Yeah, God, freaking A, Jason. I swear to God, this guy.
That's why you keep me around. That's what I do.
That's the only reason. That's it. Oh my goodness, you guys. I want to be respectful of our time. It is 6:02. We did have some things that we'd like to share with you as far as recommended resources, but Charity and Carsen are going to stick around until afterwards for a little more Q&A time. So if you guys are good with me just running through our last few slides, I will do that. But first and foremost, you guys, thank you, Charity, and thank you, Carsen, for joining us today and sharing your stories. I cannot wait for you guys to connect with Carsen and to hear the podcast episode with Charity. Oh my gosh. Charity, is there anything that you want to leave us with? Any thoughts on your journey so far?
No, I mean, we covered it in the podcast. So if they want to know more, they'll just have to listen to the episode.
Look at you. Look at that. What's that called?
Shameless plug.
Yes, girl.
Yes, girl. Yes, girl. Oh my gosh. You guys, I found this quote and it just really resonated with me when I was putting our little slideshow together. It says, in a polite society, a well-maintained skincare routine is one of life's greatest successes. Snap, double snap to that. I thought that was pretty on point. Recommended resources. Carsen, what are your go-to resources for us, or are your recommended products?
As far as facial skincare, my two favorite brands are DMK and SkinScript. You can find both of them online from estheticians. I do recommend, especially for the face, like figuring out what your skin needs with an esthetician and getting professional grade products. SkinScript is even though it's a professional line, it's very easily accessible by everyone. They're very reasonably priced. As far as the body goes, some of the products that I talked about were that La Roche-Posay Lip Car Moisturizing Body Wash. That's like my favorite by far. There's a daily moisturizing lotion from Flamingo that has a little bit of papaya extracts in it, so it's very mildly exfoliating. If you ever get those little like bumps on the tops of your shoulders, any like minor body acne, if you get like ingrown hairs on your legs or anything, this will help to resolve that. And it's a really nice moisturizer in general. My favorite body SPFs are from Kula. I do like their facial SPFs too, but I much prefer that. There's one from Elta MD that's really nice that everybody loves. But Kula's got great sunscreens. One of the important things when it comes to sunscreens is like making sure that it actually contains the SPF that they are advertising, which is something that not all brands do. So definitely look at the like consumer reports. If you have a favorite SPF, check it on consumer reports, because every year, every 2 years, they do a study where they go through and test all these different brands, and they'll let you know if you're actually getting the sun protection that they're advertising.
Oh, that is a super good heads up. I would have never thought about that.
Something that not a lot of people realize that I actually didn't know until just a few years ago is that sunscreens expire. And then they're not as effective. So check if it's like a squeeze tube, it'll be crimped into that edge of it. Or if it's like a spray or something, it's on the bottom, and they expire pretty quickly. So at least every year, probably you should be buying new body sunscreens. I know that some people keep theirs year after year after year, and you're just not actually getting any sun protection if you're
those chemicals or what's in it tend to break down quickly, right? Yes.
And the
awesome.
physical sunscreens will last a little bit longer than chemical ones, but not much.
Yeah, really good to know. I've used Elta and I've used Kula before, and I very much enjoyed those products.
Yeah.
Awesome. Our favorite recommendations from the East West and Charity's recommendations, Osea, Supergoop, Skin Authority, Dermatologica, Ilia is a skincare and kind of makeup in one if you're looking for a little bit more natural. And Nat actually just did a Sephora haul today where she kind of broke down some of her favorite products. So if you follow her on Instagram, definitely check out the stories that she just did. And then Charity recommends CeraVe products that she enjoys and SPF 100, right? So again, knowing that that's just talking about how much sun is getting to us, the higher the number, the more protection that we're getting. And she just said that she uses such a high number for her scar protection. Living in Arizona, it's kind of hard to avoid that sun. So those are our recommended resources, you guys. And we will also make sure that we get this information out to you with like product recommendations, order of operations, all of that kind of good stuff. And you are always free and welcome, you guys, to message us directly because we are literally here to support you. Oh my gosh. Okay, you guys, that was a lot of info in a very short amount of time, but we always like to take a moment to reflect on our learning. This is the teacher side and myself and Natalie coming out. Are you leaving today with the information that you were hoping to leave with? Or did you get an aha? Was there something that you didn't realize, some new learnings? You can unmute yourself. You can put it in the chat.
I'll say something real quick, just about the body positivity versus body
I was shocked to learn
neutrality.
about.
Yeah, go for it, Rebecca.
Okay. So like years and years ago, I had hopped on Instagram. This was probably like 5 or 6 years ago. And I came across the body positivity movement. And it really kind of like changed my perspective on everything because I, being a big girl, couldn't believe that there were all these other people out there that were celebrating how they looked, you know. And then obviously after years of kind of researching, I realized that body positivity wasn't just about people that are bigger. It's about you celebrating your size whenever. But I like the idea of thinking that, you know, we don't always need to love ourselves in terms of being okay with the way that we look every single day, because I feel like it's only human to get hard on ourselves. And so the idea of being just okay with where you are right now and not necessarily being dependent upon, you know, where you're supposed to be was definitely something that I'm going to dive into. So that was the best part that I got out of this whole thing. And also too, I just really like getting into this community, and I'm hoping to meet more of you guys, and I appreciate you welcoming me. So
We're glad
Awesome.
you made
that was it.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. We appreciate your learning and we appreciate your feedback. And yeah, that's what this is all about. Every time we do anything like this, we always leave with like something brand new that we never realized before.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, and one of
all
the
of it.
things, like what Rebecca was talking about, the body positivity, almost, you know, almost loving yourself to a fault at a point, because pre-op, if you're really in there just hanging on to the body positivity, I'm just going to be cool at whatever size I am, can also be just as damaging as, you know, because if you're still hanging out with, you know, and the metabolic wellness is not where it needs to be, you can love yourself all day long, but you're going to love yourself to death almost if you're not careful.
Yeah, that's something that body positivity was something that I had to come to in order to get to weight loss surgery, if that makes sense. Like I had to say, okay, I am big that's okay. I'm still like, my weight does not affect my moral compass or my moral value, but I'm not healthy, and that's a problem. Like, I think body positivity, body neutrality, whichever you wish to go with, I think you need to get to that point sometimes in order to do things for your health. And that's, for myself, that was what I had to do. I had to take 2 years to say, I'm going to still wear clothes that I want, do my makeup how I want, present myself how I want to present myself, and love and accept myself at 400 pounds. But I was still really unhealthy, and I was still 400 pounds.
Yeah.
And to make that click, I think that's where body positivity kind of misses the mark, is where, yes, you are valuable no matter what size you are. I've been at 130 pounds, and I've been at 403 pounds. My worth didn't change.
Yeah.
But once I get to that point where I say, my worth doesn't change no matter what size I am, but right now I'm not healthy, I think that's the ticket.
I think body positivity also misses the mark with almost promoting us to not want to get healthy, because I feel like, and I felt like this for a while, it's, you should love yourself no matter what. That's, you know, and we have, at least for me personally speaking, I have, my self-worth has just been a roller coaster. And when I did first come across body positivity, it was kind of like, if you were focusing on trying to get healthy, it was like you were saying that your worth was dependent upon you getting smaller, and that was like not okay. So that's been kind of, I feel like it's kind of an oxymoron, you know, because we do need to love ourselves at every stage that we're in, but I also feel like loving ourselves is figuring out what's the best road for us to go on, and health ultimately is that, you know, because we want to live longer, and we want to be happy, and we want to feel okay every single day, you know. And this excess weight that I've had on my body for however long has taken such a toll on me, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally. It's taken a toll on my relationships. And so like, just hearing that, you know, the body neutrality, I really, really like that, because it's like every single day we're at a different stage of our lives. And it may not necessarily be our ultimate goal, but that's okay. We just need to be okay with ourselves right now. I know I was like rambling on, but I'm really glad that you pressed on that, because that's been something that's been bothering me for a while.
Your worth is not your weight, and that's definitely something that we need to realize, because like Natalie said, I mean, you can love yourself at any size. You just got to make sure that you're healthy about it.
Yep, exactly. And I think we might even have, I think we did now everything's mashing, but we will continue to talk about body positivity versus body neutrality. And I think we've even have a podcast episode on it, but yeah, it can be a very powerful exploration into our own understanding and our own relationships with our own bodies. And I think it can be a very beneficial lens to look at our changes with. So absolutely. Absolutely. All right, you guys, 2 very exciting things that we have coming up. July's Virtual Bariatric Meetup and July's support focus at East to West is going to be all about plastic surgery. So when we originally wanted to talk about skin, we realized, oh my gosh, this is such a huge topic. So in July, we're going to focus on plastics. So if you're curious about it, if you have questions about it, we're going to be interviewing plastic surgery doctors, a registered plastic surgery nurse, and then we are going to be connecting with members of our community who have gone through their own plastic surgery experience. So if that's something that you are interested in learning more about, you can actually register for the event right now, because it's already live on our website. So just head to easttowestws.com and you will see it there. We have also, you guys, partnered with 10 amazing people, companies, brands for a 10,000 follower giveaway. We are not there yet, but we are getting very, very close. But we just want to let you guys know that we have some amazing things lined up when we reach that very phenomenal milestone. We are super stoked about that. So you can help us get there by just really sharing the content, coming to the lives, tagging us in your posts, just letting people know that we exist. That is the number one way that you can help us get to this milestone, because we are super, super stoked about it. 3 ways that you can help support what we're doing at East to West: share our content, participate, tag us, become a patron of East to West. If you love this type of support, you can help make sure that that support still exists. So we just wanted to let you guys know that there are 3 awesome ways that you can help us grow and connect with other people in our community. All right, you guys, woo, we did it. We did it. There's always so much to talk about. And you guys always come with so many other phenomenal things to talk about and to bring up. So thank you guys so very much for joining us today. We just very, very much appreciate you and all that you do for this community. Jason, Nat, did I miss anything?
I don't think so. No, I think you pretty much nailed it. We just, we thank everybody for coming and participating. And like April said, the questions are always amazing. So
oh my gosh,
we just hope you guys are leaving with as much information as you wanted to, or hopefully more information than you wanted to. That always helps.
Yeah, that's always a good thing.
I mean,
all right, guys, we will officially end this. So if you would like to go, obviously you are welcome to do so, but Carsen and Charity are going to be here to answer your questions. And if you're all good, I would just want to dive into that. Nat, do you have something?
No, I just did want to say that Charity did have to leave. She had to feed her family. So I think we just have Carsen.
Oh, thank you, Natalie, for that. Appreciate that. Oh, awesome, Lisa. I'm glad that you came. How many of you guys was this your first meeting? It's scary sometimes to click it.
Samantha, it was Samantha's first one too. Yay.
Nice. Welcome, you guys.
So
all right, Miss Nat, you had a really great question.
It was also Ant's first meeting. Yay.
Oh, nice, Ann. Welcome. Perfect. It's so awesome to see so many new faces in the community. This is amazing.
It really is. It really is.
Mm-hmm. All right, Miss Nat, you had a great question about eye creams.
Yeah, so I feel like eye creams are really controversial in like the skincare realm. And I've seen and talked to many people who are like, eye creams are like not really necessary. Some people swear by eye creams. So like, do you have an opinion, or what's your take on it?
So a lot of times eye creams are just moisturizers in really tiny bottles. You pay more money for them. Sometimes they're more concentrated. It's like a heavier formulation. Typically they are going to be fragrance free because it's in the eye area, but ideally you're using fragrance free products over your entire face. Most people don't necessarily need an eye cream. Just apply your moisturizer around the eye area. If you do have like dark circles, or if you get a lot of puffiness, there are some products with like peptides or caffeine that can help with those things. Usually those are going to be more effective when they're in like an eye serum or like a serum type formulation. But an eye cream is kind of just a heavier moisturizer a lot of the times.
Okay, that's what I thought. I don't use eye creams, but my mom is like, I think it's her generation. She's like, you have to use an eye cream. And I'm like, I don't feel like there's a difference. Like,
Most
thank
of the
you.
time. But there are estheticians that would fight me over that. So
well, I think that's probably the case with anything these days.
Most things in the industry, yeah. If you ever want some good drama, like join an esthetician page on Facebook, because it's wild. The things that are controversial, man, it gets heated in there.
Oh.
Well, I'm on like skincare TikTok. Like I found myself in that like realm on TikTok. And that gets controversial enough, so I don't think I need Facebook. But yeah, that's why I asked about the eye creams, because I was like, I've just heard really differing opinions and things. So Yeah.
Tabitha has a really great question in the chat. Do you want me to ask it, or Tabitha, do you want to unmute yourself?
Oh yeah, that's fine. I can. I just want to know, like, so I'm super uncomfortable with people touching me. I just don't like it. I'm weird. So I just would want to know, like, what could I expect from like a visit with an esthetician or a facial or whatever I could go to
Yeah.
start doing for my skin.
Yeah, so it depends on what kind of a service that you're getting. If you're getting a facial, typically we'll have you undress from the waist up, including your bra if you're wearing one, so that we have access to the full décolleté. We will give you like a smock, right? You're not gonna just be laying there topless. You'll have like a little gown on that goes on like a strapless dress. Typically we'll cleanse the skin. Usually, at least for the first portion of the facial, we'll usually have gloves on while we're doing the cleansing and extractions, things like that. We'll have gloves on while we like kind of get to know the skin a little bit. And then usually there will be a little bit of a massage involved where everything's like kind of being swept up from like the décolleté all the way up, maybe some lymphatic drainage. There is quite a bit of face touching involved. So if that's something that you're really uncomfortable with, there are a lot of estheticians that will do like consultations first, or even if they don't advertise it, you can call and say like, hey, I've never had a service like this done. I'm a little bit nervous. Do you offer consultations? Usually estheticians will be willing to do that, and they can talk about like, sometimes they'll be willing to do like, give you some skincare advice without getting their hands on you. Or they can just kind of talk you through, figure out what services of theirs might be more appropriate, what might be more comfortable for you, things like that. But consultations are the way to go. Honestly, if an esthetician is not willing to do a consultation, that's probably not someone that you want to see anyway. But most of us will gladly do a consultation.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And Tabitha, I would also recommend, I too am like you, I'm not a fan of strangers touching me, right? It's just not my jam. And every time that I have seen a new esthetician, I will let them know, hey, this isn't my jam, but I like to care for my skin. So, you know, if I'm feeling uncomfortable, I'm going to let you know. And then I also ask them, if it's the first time that I've seen them, I let them know, I need you to tell me before you start anything new. Like before, like I need you to say like, okay, now I'm going to cleanse your skin using this product and here's how it's going to happen. Okay, great. Now I'm going to apply this mask that looks like a jellyfish and it's going to feel like this, right? Like I need that specifics. Otherwise I'm going to like throat punch somebody accidentally or on purpose. So I ask them to be very vocal with me the first time. And if I enjoy their services and if they do as I ask and all that kind of stuff, then I can go back to them. And when I have another treatment, I'm not freaked out about what they're doing. Or, hey, if you're going to try something new, give me a heads up so that I know that you can advocate for yourself that way.
Yeah, I just had like a pretty traumatic massage experience because it was like my first time, and then I was like super bruised, and I didn't I guess fully understand what was about to happen to me. So like now I'm like, they're like, oh, well, come in for a facial, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm comfortable with someone I don't know. Like it's, you know, so it's a lot more vulnerable for it to be like my chest and my neck and my face than it would be like maybe my back or whatever. But yeah, so I'm just a little nervous. That's all.
And that's something like we are biologically programmed to be very protective of this area, right? So like a lot of people do have anxieties about that. I would also say that like, depending on what kind of a facility you go to, you may get, the esthetician will have different expectations, right? So if you go someplace that is more focused on skin treatments, typically your esthetician will explain what they're doing as they're doing it. It's going to be a little bit more sort of like clinical as we go. Whereas if you go to someplace that's like a day spa, typically they're going to anticipate that you are there to just relax and that you don't want to be talked to. So that's something to keep in mind. It'll be a little bit more frills, a little bit more massage, and they're less likely to explain what's going on. But I mean, always feel like you can tell us that you want us to talk about it.
My running joke is that every time I leave my facials, I tell her I feel drunk and high, but in no sense hungover. It's like the best feeling in the world. And she's all up in all this and arms and hand. I mean, it's just like,
Yep.
oh my God. So if you can woo-saw your way there, Tabitha, oh my God, I hope your experience is as glorious as mine.
I'm hoping so very soon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What other questions do you have for Carsen, you guys?
Anything?
I hope Tabitha's facial is not as aggressive as her super deep tissue.
And you,
Oh my God.
I didn't know what a deep tissue was, and I didn't even know I was doing a deep tissue. I mean, I looked like I was beat on the back with a baseball bat. Like I was black and blue from the back of my shoulders down to just under, like.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, deep tissues like they lean the elbow all in there and get all deep off it. Yeah, no thanks.
I was in a car accident a few years ago, and I got like all sorts of like chiropractic and massage and whatever for it. But this woman, God bless her, would do deep tissue and basically fold her hand inside my shoulder blade and like dig around in there. And it helped, but while it was happening, I would feel nauseous because it was so intense. But yeah, I can't even imagine what that would be like if you didn't know what was happening.
Right up there, like, surprise, bam.
Yeah, you'd probably think you walked into a horror movie set. Like, oh my God, they're going to make a murder movie about me.
Right. Yeah.
Straight up worst thing ever. Oh my goodness. Any other questions for Carsen, you guys? Oh, one came in from the chat. Melissa, you want to unmute yourself or do you want me to read it?
Sure. I just am wondering about all these serums that are out, like the hyaluronic acid and that kind of thing. Do you recommend them, or, and if you do recommend them, what's the best way to put them on?
Yeah, so that's a really great question. Serums are going to be like your targeted treatment of your skincare routine. So serums are going to be like individualized little nuggets of whatever your skin might need. So there's vitamin C serums that are going to help to fight free radicals. There's going to be different like hydrating serums, antioxidants, all sorts of different things. You mentioned specifically hyaluronic acid. Everybody has seen the ads that say that it absorbs 1,000 times its weight in water, which it does, but it really depends on how that hyaluronic acid is made, whether or not it's going to do much for your skin. And it also really depends on your environment too. So if the climate around you is really dry and really arid, like if you're in Arizona, I don't recommend using a hyaluronic acid, because that hyaluronic acid is going to be sitting closer to the surface of your skin. And if outside your body is drier than inside, it's going to be pulling that moisture from the deeper layers of your skin closer to the surface. And then it's just going to evaporate into the atmosphere. Yeah, it's going to draw out the moisture. Exactly. You can get around that by using like a really thick, like occlusive barrier on top of that, something like Vaseline. I don't like to wear Vaseline on my face though, so I'm not willing to do that. But serums are great. If you're going to use a serum, typically it's going to be one of your first steps in your skincare routine after cleansing. So you just apply it. In general, when you're applying products, you apply them in kind of the weight that they are. So your thinnest, like most water weight toners, whatever, is going to come first. And then if you're using like facial oil, you could use that. And then your moisturizer. And then you would do an occlusive barrier if you're going to go that route. And then your SPF always is going to sit on top.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and I know I was perusing your feed, Carsen, and you have a really great graphic. I think it was on your feed, and it was about like the different types of moisturizers. Like you had hyaluronic acid under one, and then you had kind of like this fatty moisturizer in another column, and they both kind of serve a different purpose. You can use them together, separately, but it's hard to know like what all these things do because there's just so many things out there.
There's so many options, and there's so much information, and there's also a lot of like, there isn't like any legal requirement that when you say something in skincare that it's necessarily true. So you really kind of have to know what ingredients do, or trust the person that you're seeing to know like what's right for your skin type.
I was going to say, 'cause a lot of that stuff you're getting it from the people that are trying to sell it to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, everybody is trying to sell you something. If you find an esthetician that you can trust, like having a little personal gold mine.
Yeah, I was just going to write it in the chat, and I was going to say, Melissa, what has helped me is, getting recommendations from dermatologists or from like my friends or family who've been happy with an esthetician, and then just making an appointment with them so that you can kind of have this one-on-one, like, hey, here's what my skin is doing, here's what I'm needing help with, or here's what I'm liking. They can really recommend products for you. And what I appreciate about Carsen and other estheticians that I've known is they say, here's the ingredients that you're looking for, here's what they do, here's how they will help you. And then once you're kind of armed with that knowledge, then you can really go to like Sephora or Osea or like all of these other brands and figure out who has the product that is what I need for my current situation.
Yep.
It seems like a lot of work at first, but I mean, you guys know how expensive some of these things are. I mean, it's just like ridiculously expensive. So to become armed with the knowledge of what these ingredients are doing and how they can be used means that we can spend our dollars wisely on brands that do what they say they're going to do. Yeah. Really great question, Melissa. Excellent. Any other questions, you guys? And it's totally okay if you don't. You guys know how to get a hold of Carsen. We're all on Instagram. You can follow her there. You can message her directly. All kinds of great information there. So
Do know if you follow me on Instagram, though, I swear a lot in my stories. So if you have kids, if that matters to you, maybe just keep my stories like on mute or save it for after they go to bed.
Good to know. Good to know, Carsen. Awesome, you guys. All right. Well, we will wrap up this very amazing virtual bariatric meetup. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining us. We very much appreciate your participation, and we look forward to seeing you on the gram.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
all.
Carsen, for joining us. This is awesome.
Yes, thank you.